Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second self-advocacy story time. And I have my name, first of all, is Miss Tanisha Dungy from Willard Public Library. I am the Director of Youth Services and Community Engagement. And I have Mary Fortney with me again from the Disability Network of Southwest Michigan. So, Mary, talk a little bit about what's going to happen during this program tonight.
I am so excited tonight. So we have got a really special guest, and her name is Justine Green. And Justine is a phenomenal author who has written a series of stories called Completely Me. That's the one she's going to read tonight, but she's also got some other books that I'm sure she'll talk about tonight. But it's all about being proud about your disability and just showing that pride. And each one of her stories is about a real life kid with a disability. And I think if you listen really closely, you'll probably get tuned into a little secret about her story that she's going to read tonight and who that child in that story is.
All right. So I am going to add Dr. Justine Green to the stage. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself before you read your story?
Absolutely. So I'm going to kind of say it all and hope you kind of resonate and understand a bit about me and what makes me special. So I was born with atresia and microtia. One affects the outer ear and one affects the ear canal. So I am totally deaf in my left ear, and the ear that was there was deformed. I needed and had 3 reconstructive surgeries by the time I was 9 years old. And I am still deaf in my ear, but they kind of worked to make sure that the physical was reconstructed. I wear hearing aids, and I can't wait to tell you guys about them. And I ended up using my disability as motivation. I'm a lip reader. I always utilized my accommodations in school, but that wasn't enough. I really wanted to help others and change how we saw disabilities and the use of accommodations. I got my doctorate in education focusing on students with disabilities. I was an inclusive educator, an administrator, and now I write children's books. And we just recently released sensory activity kits that are all inclusive and always taste safe.
Awesome. So are you ready to read your story?
Yeah, of course. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about my ear and how I felt growing up, and then we'll go into the books. So I'd love to talk about my hearing aids because it took me a really long time to find them. So it wasn't until COVID that everyone was wearing masks, and I all of a sudden could not read lips anymore. And it showed me I really felt my disability for the first time in a very long time. And I found an audiologist who I absolutely adore. And she went above and beyond to help me find something that works for me. And so Starkey actually created something called the Cross technology, which uses Bluetooth. This side is actually taped. See, this is my ear. There's no canal, so I don't have an eardrum. And I tape this on with fashion tape every day. And it's a microphone, as if you use a microphone, and it connects to my regular hearing aid on this side. And we matched it black so that it would fit in and kind of blend with my hair. You would never even know it's there, but it has made a world of difference for me. And growing up, I really felt like because my ear is so flat against my head, that I was missing an ear. See, even when you kind of look at me, you see one, but you kind of don't see the other. So I always felt like I was me and I was special, but others felt like I was missing something. So I really wanted to showcase how important it is to love yourself for who you are, and that all your imperfections are what make you perfect. So that's what I wrote Completely Me all about. And this was the first of the books. And that's me. Wasn't I so cute? Oh my goodness. And that's really who we tried to create on the front here. And each of my books is based, like Mary said, on a real child with a real disability. This is Matt, and you get to see that. And I think that having the pictures on the back really helped bring that home and show that this isn't some completely made up story. This is a way for us to help children understand these differences. We have completely Emmy, a cerebral palsy story. And Emmy absolutely loves the fact that people read books about her. She feels like a celebrity. She brings it to her school. She loves it. And this is completely Toby, our newest book, and it's a Down syndrome story. But I'm going to read tonight my story. So, Mary, are you going to show the screen or should I? Okay.
Yep, I can definitely show the screen.
Completely me.
Well, maybe.
There is a hidden butterfly on every page. So just make sure to pay attention so that you can pinpoint and find every butterfly. Okay. Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, Justine lived in a place where people were helpful every day. Could you guess who that is? It's me. And I wrote that it's not so far away because people are helpful every day here. And there was definitely a time that you could probably remember today that you were helpful too. They all looked out for one another as if they were sister and brother. Well, Justine loved to smile and help her friends out, but she was missing an ear, which is what this story is about. Justine had never noticed that she was missing a piece. She only knew something was wrong because someone told the police. And look at that. She's pointing at Justine. Do you think that's kind? No. The police searched all over the town and asked everyone everywhere. They asked the whole town for help, and soon enough, people started to stare. Staring means really looking at someone, and that little boy is pointing at her too. That probably makes her feel sad. Oh no, they cried. You're missing a piece of you. You must feel sad or lonely. Are you down and blue? I feel just like my normal self, said Justine, who became scared. Do you think I need an ear? Yes, yelled the people who came prepared. The people being helpful brought everything they could, from potatoes to Play-Doh, orange slices to wood. So many helpful people, all running to help Justine, but she didn't need any help. She found it all to be pretty mean. Do you know what they were trying to do with the Play-Doh and the potatoes and those orange slices and the wood? They were trying to make an ear. Do you think an orange slice ear would work? That's so silly. Justine was always proud to be different and unique. That means different. She climbed up on a fire truck and decided it was her turn to speak. My friends, she said, I might be missing my ear, but there is something important you all need to hear. I'm proud to be me, and I'm happy in my heart. I might be missing an ear, but I've been whole. from the very start. Everyone stopped right there in the street, and what happened next was so warm and so sweet. The townspeople all gathered to say that little Justine taught them the way. Everyone is perfect, and that is true. You're never missing anything. You're perfect as you. The end. I love I know that I wrote it, but I feel like I get so emotional when I read it still, years later, because I did feel like that growing up. I was playing soccer and I had brothers who didn't care about the differences, and I never noticed I was different until other people would point it out. And that's when I felt like I became like a cocoon of myself. And it wasn't until my mid to late 20s where I decided, you know what? I'm pretty cool. If they don't like me, then that's on them. But it took so long for me to reach that stage of acceptance. And I still, to this day, get a little like choked up if someone notices. And then I'm like, no, yes, it's my ear. And I try to use it as a teachable moment, which I think is so important.
We do have a couple of comments. It
Oh,
looks like we have something from Tyler Wyatt. He says, it's a great story. I love to get this book for my nieces and nephews. So, would you like to tell our audience how they can pick up your book?
absolutely. Thank you, Tyler. It is available on Amazon, and then everything we created is available on completelyme.com. We have all 4 of these books, and if you go on our website, you can get them all for a deal. You could get a book bundle because we know how important it is for a classroom and for a house and a home to kind of have all of these as options. They are such great conversation starters. They're easy for children to understand, and it really opens that door into a great conversation about differences and acceptance and standing up for yourself, which I love to promote.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question for you. I know that you mentioned that you relied on reading people's lips. Did you learn sign language or did you decide not to?
So that's actually a great question. So my mom has some hearing loss as well. And my brothers in high school took sign language as their language because there's a chance that we could both potentially go deaf. But I did not. I was really focused on what the college counselor said about how sign language was not accepted everywhere, and which is not okay. And we
Right?
can definitely work on that. But what I also did was I went to an audiologist and they checked my cochlear nerve, like that, what people get as cochlear implants.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually said that I would be a candidate if I ever was to lose my other hearing. So knowing that that is great in the future is very helpful for me to take a deep breath about my hearing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been learning signs over the past few years, but not enough.
Mm-hmm. I do just want to take this time to promote our ASL story times that we also have at Willard Library. Yes, I work with
I
a
love
young,
that.
her name is Nadia V, and she does the signs and I read the story aloud. So it's a wonderful virtual program. We will have one, and I'm really bad with dates. I'm going to check the calendar. November 8th at 6 p.m. That will also be airing live on the same channel.
Yay!
I love that. That's amazing. And having an inclusive story time where you're thinking of all of the children is so nice. People ask me all the time, are you going to do one for the blind and visually impaired book? And I have been doing research trying to figure out how to print in Braille, because I would never offer a book about blindness and visual impairment if they would not be able to read it or be accessible to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something in the back of my mind all the time, is how can I open the door for inclusion?
Mm-hmm. You know, I always have to plug the library, so I'll do one more plug.
You have
We
another one?
Yes, I do. We actually began to curate a Braille collection at Willard Library. So if you go down to the children's department, the children's room, we have quite a good selection of Braille books as well. So yeah, check them out.
That is making me so happy. I hope that a lot of other libraries really take after what you're doing. It's incredible. Me, I'm like, yeah, I'm like geeking out over here, like, yeah.
We need you to come down and visit.
I would love to. It sounds like I would be fully accepted for who I am there.
Just don't bring her in the winter because she's a Florida woman. So
I am.
you may not want to come in the winter.
You turned away.
I just want to say one thing as somebody who's read all of your books, and actually I have them all. You know, the one thing that strikes me that's so beautiful about each and every one of them is the sense of disability pride.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in each of these children. And so that's what we at Disability Network are doing with the Paving the Way to Self-Determination program. It's all about creating that sense of disability pride from when the children are young, right? So that they grow up with this real self-determined, strong sense of independence. So we will definitely bring you back to do some stuff with us with that program as well. So, you know, you might as well just take up a short residency in Battle Creek, Michigan. That would be great.
Only in the fall, which I don't get any changing of the colors, so totally be there in the fall. But I love what you're doing for this community, and I was really lucky and fortunate to have parents that advocated for me from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And it still took me so long to reach self-acceptance. And that's what I was really trying to do, is change it so that the next generation reaches that self-acceptance stage from a young age. During my doctoral studies, I found that when it comes to disability identity, although people without disabilities reach a self-acceptance stage in their late teens, early 20s, for disabled people in the community, we don't reach that till our late 20s, early 30s. And I said, that's not fair. Are you serious? Like, why not? And so I really aimed to have this conversation and start this teaching at a younger age so that they grow up knowing that their accommodations and everything that they need is not a burden, which I kept hearing that word used in my studies and in my research, is that it was not only the stigma of being that person or needing it or having attention when they didn't want attention. They kept using the word burden. You felt like a burden asking for your needs to be met. And I felt my blood boiling to know that what you were legally allowed and granted as a federally protected person was not comfortable enough for you to even use. And then those with disabilities were falling behind in school because they weren't using accommodations, trying not to bring attention to themselves or be a burden. And then they're not doing well. It was like a cycle. And I'm really aiming to change that. And when it comes to self-advocacy, it should not only be at a young age, although my mom used to sit with my teachers ahead of time, telling them all of my needs. She's going to have to sit in the front left corner, so her ears to everyone. You're going to have to get a note taker. But she taught me and would bring me along to a lot of these meetings so that I heard how she requested these accommodations. And then I was actually telling you guys this story beforehand about how I advocate for myself in a workplace. If you need any sort of accommodation in a workplace or anywhere necessary, you should feel comfortable enough to maybe pull that person aside or have a meeting or kind of showcase the fact that your needs are not being met and here's how to do so. And you are protected and they are not allowed to discriminate based on disability and or punish you based on the fact that you are requesting accommodations. So standing up for yourself, being your own advocate is so important, and learning from a young age is how you're going to pave the way to having all of your needs met in every environment.
I do have a question. I know that your story motivated you to become a writer, so other kids can learn about your experience. But what made you want to continue on and reach out to other children with disabilities and write about them?
That's a really good question. So I really wanted to create a set of tools. And that's, although I love my books, they are great for story time. I believe that they are tools. And I wanted to add to every parent, librarian, teacher's toolkit. I think that my goal was to create a set of books of as many disabilities as possible. And although as soon as I release a new book, I get a million comments and calls. Do a skin disorder, do autism, do blindness, do the, and it's like, yes, I would love to. I would love to. But it's not a snap your fingers type of
Mm-hmm.
situation. But I want to and I would love to. And my goal is to have as many out there. But my original goal was to have as many books about children with different disabilities as possible. And then afterwards, go into Justine and her friends go to school. And then it will highlight the accommodations each friend may see in a classroom. So it
That's
really,
cool.
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Thank you. I really focused on the use of accommodations in my doctoral studies, and I was astonished to hear how little it's used. And then people, especially in the college world, because when you're up through high school, it's required. It is
Mm-hmm.
something provided by the state and by your schools. And once you go to college, the only way to get accommodations is by self disclosing to the university, hey, I have a disability. We used to get calls. I worked at the Office of Disability Services at the University of Miami. We used to get calls from parents. Go find my child. They're failing. They need help. And we're not allowed to do that. So, out of everyone on the campus with a disability, only 50% of those children with disabilities actually self disclosed. And out of those 50%, only 50% actually used it. So you're looking at 25% of people with disabilities on the college campuses actually using accommodations. And a lot of them were only self disclosing once they figured out that they were failing or not doing well in their classes. And then it was already such a later process that they were kind of playing catch up for the rest of the year instead of providing their own necessary accommodations to be put in place as soon as possible so that they are set to excel and succeed instead of just trying to skip by, not be that person.
I love that. Yeah, as a former teacher, I like to hear about the accommodations because I think sometimes you may not be aware of what accommodations will work for your child depending on the disability. So I really like how you not only talk about standing up for yourself and making sure your needs are met, but then what does that look like and giving some examples. So that's amazing. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
absolutely. Thank you.
And
What I'm
that's
here
also that's also a big piece of what a lot of us did at Disability Network as well, as we worked with high school age, that what they call the transition age student who's getting ready for that next step after high school, and impressing upon them the importance of hey, when you go wherever you're going after high school, whether it be to a job, whether it be to trade school, college, whatever, that IEP and your teachers and your parents advocating for you kind of goes away. And it's time for you to step up and know what your strengths are, and then know what your needs are as well, right? And then how to speak up for those things. It's such an important skill for our young people to master.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that's very interesting is that different schools have different accommodations they offer. So what you received in high school may not be what you are provided in college. And you can ask for those things, whether they have it or not. You can ask for them to create that. And I thought I had every accommodation possible to me until I went and got my master's at Teachers College at Columbia. And because it was Teachers College, where they really are all about inclusivity, they had some of the best accommodations I didn't even know were possible for me. And that included, I actually had someone sit with me at every single class to provide real-time closed captioning, sitting there, a stenographer, right? Is that what that's called? I don't want to say that right. Yes, a stenographer sitting. And so it wasn't even just a note taker. I was getting it in real time. I've
Wow.
never had that before in my whole life. So that was really eye-opening. So that when I went back to the University of Miami for my doctorate, I even brought up to them that there are other accommodations that they are not showcasing and having and utilizing, and here's what you should be doing. It's so important to do your research and stand up for yourself, and you never know what's out there until you find it.
So I was looking in the comment section. I don't see any more comments or questions. Holly Rebecca did give you a heart though, so I will show that there. So do we have any final words before we close out our story time tonight?
Sure. So I want to thank you so much for having me. And I want to just say one more thing, and it is about which way?
That
Our
way.
Taste Safe sensory activity kits. Every single month, it's a subscription. So you never have to think about it ever again. We put the thought into it, and it's curated by experts in education and human development to make sure that your little ones are working on important developmental skills as they have fun. They will never know that what they're doing is strategic, but you don't have to think about it. Even if they put it in their mouth to explore all of their senses, it's totally safe. Each month is a new theme and comes along with a video of me doing something that's on theme and going through different ways to utilize the kit as well. So definitely sign up for a great subscription. And right now we are having a promotion on our website that if you get a kit, you will also get a free Completely Me book.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
So I might just have a daughter in Seattle that's tuned in right now, and I that might be a Christmas present for the grandbabies. We'll see. That would be awesome. But maybe I spoiled the surprise now.
It'll still be a surprise when they get to open it.
There you go.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I think she says, yes, please.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary and Dr. Justine. It has been an amazing time hearing about your story and learning more about the products that and services that you provide through your website. So thank you so much, everyone. And all of the information for both Dr. Justine and Miss Mary is on in our comment section. You all have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.